Elon Musk exerting too much power and influence? Yes, if you ask the rich and powerful around the globe that the tech billionaire is beefing with. Let's go first to the UK, where Musk is going after politicians who he says have failed to properly address a grooming gang scandal. He called British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's safeguarding minister, Jess Phillips, pure evil and a wicked creature. He also blasted Starmer by saying the current PM failed to properly prosecute these gangs when he was Director of Public Prosecutions.
More surprising, though, is Musk's recent hostility toward Trump ally and UK Reform Party leader Nigel Farage. The Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it takes, Musk wrote on Sunday. Farage has said that he and Musk were in negotiations to fund the Reform Party. Their beef likely stems from Farage's refusal to support right-wing controversialist Tommy Robinson, a favoured cause of Musk's. Robinson is in prison for contempt of court. Farage responded to Musk's tweet, writing, "Well, this is a surprise. Elon is a remarkable individual, but on this I am afraid I disagree. My view remains that Tommy Robinson is not right for reform, and I never sell out my principles."
But Musk's quarrels don't end there. Musk has also been very vocal in his support for Germany's nationalist AfD party, calling them Germany's last vestige of hope. He wrote an op-ed for a conservative newspaper in Germany voicing his support for AfD's strict immigration stance and also his tax policies. German Green Party member told Musk to keep his hands off our democracy, and the opposition party leader Friedrich Merz called Musk's words intrusive and pretentious.
And now France is joining the melee. French Prime Minister Emmanuel Macron said Monday, 10 years ago, who could have imagined it if we had been told that the owner of one of the largest social networks in the world would support a new international reactionary movement and intervene directly in elections, including in Germany.
And last but not least, we can't forget about Musk's domestic conflicts. War Room host Steve Bannon blasted Elon Musk last week over the apparent censorship of people who criticized H-1B visas. Here he is.
This is the danger of the guy. This is the CCP. This is a social credit score. This is what he's gone to. It's obvious. He can't take criticism. One of his weaknesses is that he needs to be loved. He needs the masses to love him. You can tell he's on the stage. He needs that glory.
So, Elon Musk taking some criticism from a couple different sources, from mainstream liberal progressives, internationalists, and then also from Steve Bannon. I'm the resident Elon Musk defender.
You are.
But you certainly know more about the UK situation than I do, in all likelihood. Tell us about Mr. Farage and what this beef could be about.
So, Mr. Farage rose to prominence as the leading advocate of the United Kingdom leaving the European Union. At that time, he was associated with UKIP, the United Kingdom Independence Party. Obviously, he succeeded in the Brexit referendum, which was a years-long victory that he won there. He's now involved with the Reform Party. He had met Musk late last year, and there had been some suggestion of a very large donation. Separate but related is this figure called Tommy Robinson. We may get to this more if we discuss the broader issues in Britain later in the week. Tommy Robinson is, I think, by any measure, a pretty hard right figure. He's in prison for contempt of court. He libeled somebody, basically, so a very young person in a separate school-related case, and he has admitted that he defied the court's orders. Robinson arguing that he's justified in doing so, the court saying, no, actually, you just can't do that. That is obvious contempt on its face. Musk is a supporter of Tommy Robinson, it seems. Farage, I would say to his credit, is not, and this seems to have caused a breach between the two men.
Well, yes, the visa issue as well, causing some consternation with Musk and the more populist members of the MAGA faction. I saw Batya Ungar-Sargon, who used to help us out here on Rising, talking about this issue. Actually, she was on Steve Bannon's show and some other places, on with Piers Morgan, really slamming Musk for, she says, they say, this faction says, selling out the populist base, but Trump is listening to Musk, it seems, on a lot of things. I keep hearing about this falling out between the two that doesn't seem to be taking place. So it's interesting.
It is. I mean, the visas issue and what Bannon said there has me in the unusual role of being kind of Team Bannon in a way, which doesn't happen.
Noted Steve Bannon defender, Niall Stanage.
Doesn't happen very often. But I do think that Bannon is right both on the merits and in his references to Musk's vanity or thinness of skin. On the merits, I would just say that there is significant evidence that those visas do in fact at least reduce prevailing wages, even though they're not supposed to, within the tech sector in particular. And I think the support for them from people like Elon Musk is about essentially holding his business costs down and boosting his profits. And that obviously cuts against the kind of economic nationalism that Bannon and others of that ilk would advocate. But to the point that we're talking about here, which is Musk's involvement both around the world and domestically, I do think he is remarkably thin-skinned often. And in the British example, we can get into it, as I say, sometime later, but I just think he doesn't fully understand what he's talking about some of the time. Just as one brief example, he congratulated Kemi Badenoch, the current Conservative leader, for calling for a particular kind of inquiry and had to be corrected in the comments to noting that she had obviously been in power as part of the previous Conservative government and had not called for it when she had the power to do so.
I find it a bit rich, though, when internationalists, progressive, other wealthy, powerful people, are now so upset about his influence. What about the influence of Bill Gates? What about the influence of George Soros? What about the influence of countless progressive, wealthy people who have spent tons of money to advance their causes and to advance their political parties in Europe, in the US, etc. Now it's a bad thing because Elon Musk is doing it.
Yeah, I actually broadly accept that point. I think that there is an issue with the amount of influence that accrues or that stems from
I literally heard Bill Gates complaining about this the other day, complaining about Elon Musk. Come on, man.
Okay, I didn't hear that, but I mean, that's a legitimate complaint to have. It is. I think that people, spending vast amounts of money to influence elections in their native land or adopted land or foreign countries, I'm skeptical of all of that. And I'm skeptical of it when it's Musk, and I'm skeptical of it when it's progressive figures. I think there's too much money in American politics, and I think that there's the politics of other nations is going down that road, and I think it's regrettable.
Yeah. Well, we shall see if the influence continues for how much longer. Stay tuned. More Rising right after this.